So how y'all feeling? I know last week was rough for me. I didn't do a video last week. I was pretty exhausted. I felt like I had the flu. There's just so much going on energy wise around us that I just had to take a self care week and do the least amount possible. Which, lucky for me, since I'm an empty nester, that is just fine. My cat doesn't care. He has to get food and water all the time. So I just had to worry about me. So, how did you do in that respect? Are you building your self care practice? I hope so, because you need it. Welcome to the Crystal Center of Healing. I'm Crystal. I'm glad you're with me. Um, I wanted to tell you a little bit about my story and why I became a healer and why I want to help people. Let's see. So, when I was about 3 years old, my mother had a psychotic break, and she was diagnosed with schizophrenia and borderline personality disorder. Now, if you're familiar with any of those diagnoses, um, they're really rough. They're rough for the individual and they're rough on the family. So, like I said, I was three. My mom was hospitalized for about a week, I believe. My family really didn't tell me much of what was going on, except I remember going to the hospital when she was first admitted and they were um, diagnosing her. And I knew that she was in the psych ward. Of course, at 3 years old, I really didn't know what that meant. I was just overhearing what my aunt was saying to her daughters. Um, I was more worried about, I had spotted a vending machine on the way in that had ice cream in it, and I was wanting to have a little cup of chocolate ice cream. So, well, I was three. So they got her stabilized. She came home. Um, I don't have a whole lot of memory from 3 to 4. Um, I had had a. We were living with my stepfather, and right before my mom had her break, she had my sister. And it seems like maybe the hormones were part of the deal of why this kicked off at this time in her life. Um, I do know previous to all of that, my mom had a rough time. Um, she had to move, so she left all her friends in Western Pennsylvania and moved to Eastern Pennsylvania with her mother, my grandmother. And she was bullied pretty badly by a couple of girls at school when she ended up quitting. She never did ever get her GED. And then she had a boyfriend that went off to Vietnam, and he came back different. And they broke up, and it was like the worst thing in the world to her. At some point, then after that, she met my father. Um, of course, had me. They never married. But anyway, back to after the break. She left my stepfather, um, who happened to be a drug dealer, and I kind of remember them partaking in the product. He would take me to the park as a cover to sell drugs when I was three. So I know what my grandparents told me that one day they were trying to get a hold of her and they ended up going to where we lived and they were all drugged up and my sister had a dirty diaper and my grandfather was going to change it as my grandmother was a nurse, so she was probably in there trying to get them awake and up. My grandfather told me that he didn't remember how to change a diaper because it had been so long that I showed him how to do it at 3 years old. Little green tea, which is very good for you. Um, So we moved in back in with my grandparents. I know when I was born, we were living with my grandparents, so I've been back and forth a couple times to different homes. And things got bad because my mom was a typical schizophrenic, and with the borderline personality disorder, once they get a delusion in their head, there's no changing their mind. She didn't think anything was wrong with her, so she stopped taking her medication. So my grandparents moved us into a trailer about 6 miles away, or maybe 10. I can't remember. It's been so long. So for a year and a half, I lived with my mother and my baby sister, and she continued not to take her medications for her mental illness. She also drank a lot and would drive around in the car drunk with us, throwing beer cans out the window. She was extremely paranoid. She thought there were people behind the couch. She thought there were people on the roof. And she'd start screaming and throwing things around, and I'd try to talk to her. By that point, I was probably 5. It was really a hard situation because I didn't understand what was going on. Nobody in my family prepared me for things that might happen, and it might be that they just didn't know, but I wish they would have said, hey, if your mom starts acting differently, like, raging, and I mean, they could have come up with words for me to understand for me to call them and come get us. But no, for a year and a half, I dealt with my mother's paranoia, her raging, her drinking. She dropped me off to school when there was no school. She was terrible at managing money. There were times there was no food at the end of the month because we were out of food stamps. I remember a time where we had 1 can of Campbell's bean with bacon soup left in the house. I remember it was in the upper cabinet, and I saw it, and she got it out, and I was hungry, but she sent me to bed, and her and my sister had it. There were times at school when I would pay attention to see if kids were going to eat things off their lunch tray, and I would ask them if I could have it. So I remember one day I had, it was sub day, and they always gave us cream of tomato soup. I remember having 4 bowls of cream of tomato soup. I don't know where I put it at that age, but I knew I wasn't getting anything when I got home. And my mother was violent. One time, she hit me pretty hard across the face because she thought I was mocking her. I mean, she kept telling me to stop staring at her, which I was not doing. I was just sitting in a chair, and I tried to make, my face have no expression on it at all. But she saw something else in her hallucinations. And I said, Mom, I'm not staring at you. There's nobody here. There's nothing going on. And she just lost it. She hit me really hard. I fell off the chair. I had ring marks on my face. And then she calmed down, and then all of a sudden she wanted to do laundry. So we drove to my grandparents' house. But she wouldn't let me get out of the car. And my grandmother, she went in, and my grandmother was like, well, where are the girls? And she came. My mom tried to stop her from coming out to the car, but my grandmother was pretty persistent. My grandmother was an old Scotch-Irish German woman, very particular in, how they did things. That World War II generation were, they had these really strict boundaries about things. She came out, and I just kept looking straight ahead because it was on, the side of my face towards the driver's side, so she couldn't see it. And then she asked me why I wouldn't turn my head, because I was just I was looking straight ahead and talking to her. And then she saw, and she flipped out outside on the sidewalk, which is not something she normally did, because she was pretty private. Um, but my mom jumped in the car and sped off. Um, there were times where she locked me out of the house. I'd come home from school, it'd be locked up, so I'd have to sit around and wait for her to open up the door and let me in. I know one time on a weekend she did that, and I was running around the trailer park. Because I'm not just gonna sit there. I was pretty young. You just don't sit there for hours and hours when you're a kid like that outside. It was it was a nice night. It was a little cool. I think it was summertime. I found another resident in the trailer park who was named Crystal, and she was older, and I think she knew what was going on. And I remember I was talking to her, and my mom was driving around. She had this little blue Ford Pinto, powder blue. She was driving around screaming my name at the top of her lungs, and I remember hearing her, and Crystal looked too, and she goes, "Do you want me to talk to her?" And I said, "No, it's not your problem, it's my problem." I was like 6. And there are a lot of things that happened that I don't remember. I have huge gaps in my memory from that time. And last week was hard too because I had a flashback of something and I didn't remember. And I haven't had a flashback in years. And I'm not sure what triggered it. I was at work. I had to get up from my office. I went to one of my friends just to, change the environment, shift the energy. And I told her and she understood. Because she was working on her master's for forensic psychology, so she interned, so she gets, the PTSD and stuff of that nature. But it's just weird that, I'm 53. After all these years, I had another flashback. And it wasn't even of my mother, it was my grandfather, who was an alcoholic. I mean, I love my grandfather, and he called me his little buddy. But he was really mean to me because he was drunk. And as an adult looking at the memory, it's like, it's upsetting that he would have said that to me as an adult. But as a child, I was probably 6 or 7. He said that to me. And he was kind of my safe space, even though he was an alcoholic. So it kind of threw me off. So, and, sorry. And so, when I graduated from high school, I either wanted to study music, psychology, or IT. And at the time, I was like, I didn't want to be poor because I grew up poor. So I went for IT, and I had taken a class in high school in computer applications, and I was really good at it. I ended up being like the teacher's helper. So I studied computer science. I got an associate's degree, went out into the world. But I got burnt out, and then I decided to go back to college and study psychology. So I got my degree in Bachelor's of Science in Behavioral Science, which is kind of behavioral psychology. We learned some social work stuff in there and a splash of anthropology, which was cool. I do want to go back and get my master's so I can be a counselor because of what I went through. I want to help young adults understand that you can get past what happened to you when you were young. It's a journey, and you see, I still react to it. It's hard to think that people that supposedly, say that they love you hurt you. But that's part of being human, unfortunately. We have a lot of people that have been hurt, and then they repeat the cycle. It goes down through generations. But I want you to know that what happened to you in your childhood wasn't your fault. It was trauma. It happened. It hurts. I understand. But you can grow past the hurt and the anger that you suffered. Once you're away from your family, you can choose to be different. And that's what I choose. I choose to be different. I choose to tell people that you can be okay and you can make it. I mean, there were times where I had suicidal ideation from the time I was a teenager up until actually last year. I had it. But what I found out, it was actually my mom's energy of that suicidal ideation. It was not mine. And I got rid of it energetically. I continue to take energy medicine and energy healing courses because you never know what's going to help you. And that one course that I took last year helped me a lot. It cleared out a lot of the imprints from my family, all that generational stuff. So that's why I'm so, I love self-care, even though I've fallen off the bandwagon lots of times. But by doing this channel, I'm helping myself and hopefully helping others work on self-care. Sometimes you just got to take a time out. And the world right now the energy is so rough. And Mercury retrograde ends today, which I'm so happy about because it's been a really horrible one. And I don't know if it's because it's the first one in the calendar year or there's other things going on right now, like the Schumann resonance was really high the past couple of weeks. That's the Earth's heartbeat. So some people that are sensitive can feel that. I'm one of those people, unfortunately. Venus was also in retrograde. We had, the full moon, the new moon, and the eclipses within that. And they all have their own types of energy to stir up things. And it tends to stir up stuff from your past that you might not have dealt with. And believe me, the longer you wait to deal with it, the more you'll be like, once you get on that other side, like, why didn't I do this years ago? It's really important to deal with your stuff. Your life can be so much better, and you don't have to live in a victim mentality, even though you were a victim. But once you're out of those environments, and I hope you are, if not, work on a plan to get out. If you're being abused by anybody, family, spouses, please get out. That's one thing I won't tolerate. I mean, my mom abused me physically. I will not tolerate that from a man. No way. And I remember in my early years, I would actually tell my boyfriends that, you lay a finger on me, first of all, I'm going to fight back. I'm a fighter. And second of all, we're done. I will not tolerate that at all. However, to find out, I tolerate all the emotional, mental stuff, but not the physical stuff. So I've worked on that too. That's taken me a while to actually see that. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. And if it makes you uncomfortable, that's life. There's a lot of people that gone through the same things that I have, probably worse than I have. Luckily, I've never had any broken bones or anything from my mother. I drank a lot of milk when I was little. But I don't want other people to suffer as long as I have. That's my main mission. We don't need to suffer more than we have to. Life is hard enough. Work on yourself. Get a therapist. I mean, obviously, I'm pro-therapist. I, want to get my license to work in the Western medicine versus the Eastern type of stuff. I think there needs to be a blending of that more. if you see a therapist and just want medication, you're not dealing with it. I have a hard time with people that said, oh yeah, I went to the doctor, told her I was depressed, and they gave me a pill. Well, that's not working on the problem. Do you really want to be on pills for the rest of your life? I don't. I have so many health issues right now. It's like, okay, I don't want all this. I had to take a handful of pills. I don't like it. It's not good for you, and it's not really living. You came to Earth, to this life, for a reason, to work on something. So work on yourself. A little bit each day. It doesn't have to, you don't have to be like full on, I gotta quit my job, and no, that's not what I'm saying. You gotta continue to live your life. Excuse me. But it can be so much better if you just take care of yourself, learn what your issues are, because sometimes you don't always know, and sometimes it takes a good friend to point things out. I've had a few friends along the way that have said things to me, and I took it completely the wrong way, which may happen. You're like, why does that person say that I'm doing that? That's not what I'm doing. But it takes some time to take a good hard look at yourself, and see what the truth is. I tend to be, I should say, I used to be very hypervigilant and like, what did I say? What did I do? Did I hurt somebody? Because I thought I was garbage from my mother. From the things she said to me to the things that she did to me, I just thought I was the lowest form of human life. I thought I was garbage. I thought everybody was better than me and I didn't deserve to be here. But you do deserve to be here. You're here for a reason. And you don't necessarily have to really know what that reason is. It's good to work towards something, though. To understand, what your purpose is. And your life's purpose doesn't have to be this big thing. Like, I got to win a Nobel Prize because I cured, type of cancer or something like that. It can be a very simple thing is you're here to listen to people, to help them. You're here to, whatever your job may be, you're here to do whatever that is. It doesn't have to be this martyrdom type of thing. And so many jobs are customer service. That's helping. I mean, right now I work for the federal government, and you kind of like, well, that's what you do. It's like, well, it's helping. It's helping with due process. It's helping people to get the treatment they need and things of that nature. So, if you have any questions or want to know anything, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer anything about me, my life, my past life, anything. I'm really an open book. I don't mind talking about myself. Yeah, I still get a little emotional sometimes. I have told my story many times throughout the years. Sometimes I get emotional, sometimes I don't. Today, I think I'm a little tired yet because my cat thinks I need to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning on the weekends, even though I told him I don't have to go to work. He's got this internal timer, and he comes in and starts meowing like crazy. It's like, no, Finn, I don't have to get up. Let Mama sleep. But anyhow, so let's get the card of the week. Got my deck. Let's see what we get for our affirmation of the week. And then we'll do a guided meditation. We're going to build upon the chakra balancing one. We're going to add a little step to it. We're going to unwind our chakras and wind them back up. Because our chakras have many layers to them. And energy can get stuck in the chakras, so we're going to unwind them and then pull the stuff out and then wind them back up to go the correct way. Okay, Spirit, what card affirmation do we need this week? And while I'm shuffling, you could work on clearing your space with the white sheet method that I taught. Because I like nice, clean energy for us to do our guided meditation. Okay, so it's funny, I was just talking about this. Embracing worthiness. Yeah, I had no self-worth. I had no self-esteem. I didn't think people loved me and people abandoned me. I have big abandonment issues. Because every time it seemed like every time I got a friend, they moved away. Or something happened, they didn't want to talk to me anymore. I mean, I was a sensitive child and I cried a lot, so that's kind of weird. And I'm sure I acted kind of weird because of my mom. My behaviors were probably not normal at all. So, embracing worthiness. And the other side says, I feel worthiness filling every cell of my body, and it feels amazing. Let me say that again. I feel worthiness filling every cell of my body, and it feels amazing. And so we can think about that when we do our meditation. I haven't come across many people that have real great self-worthiness, and that might be just because of who I am, that I attract people that need help. I attract a lot of neurodivergent people in my life, and narcissists. So narcissists look like they have it all together, or even narcissists, people with tendencies, and not necessarily full-blown personality disorder. But worthiness is a big theme for the people that I attract. And I try to help as much as possible if they're willing. I'm a great listener. I'm great at active listening. I've had a lot of people tell me that over the years, that I would make a great counselor, but just based on that. So think about how you feel your worthiness is. Do you feel that you're worthy enough to be in this world, even with everything going on? That can really, you can really take a hit right now, because we're kind of, those that are against what's going on right now might feel that they're not worth to try to make a change. But there's always change and things we can do. It's just doing it and not just thinking about it or sitting on it. So with that said, let's move on. Take a deep breath in. Just let it come out. I'm going to take another sip of my tea. A lot of talking. I'm not used to talking. I'm not a talker. I'm an introvert. So that's why I stumble over my words a lot. And I'm a stutterer. Weird things going past my house. Sorry. I do stutter. I know I stutter. I know I'm not the best speaker in the world. But I have good intent to help people, regardless of, how well I speak it. I'm getting better with each video, hopefully. Because it's hard to just talk sometimes. I have lots to share, but I haven't talked much over the years, because I felt all alone in life, and I just figured, everybody's got a better life than me, and, I don't have anything to share with the world. But I know that's wrong. That's old programming of mine. I keep getting cards that say that I have something to share with the world, and I keep thinking it's this big message, and it's not really. It's just what I went through and what I've learned and what I can share with you. You're here for a reason. You really are, whether you believe that or not. And I'm in the belief that we decided to come here. We picked our parents, which sometimes I have a hard time believing that I picked my mother and my father. My father that hasn't been in my life. I met him when I was 11. And I saw him about once a month for a couple years, and that was pretty much it. I've seen him a couple times as an adult. I've stayed at his house when I've gone home, because I had moved to Ohio. I'm from Pennsylvania. But he says, oh, call me anytime, but he can't pick up the phone and call me, and I just have a problem with that. I mean, I can't carry I can't carry all the relationships. I mean, if you don't want to talk to me, fine. What am I going to do? I'm not going to force you. And, the excuse that I'm an introvert and I'm shy, me too. So, how does that work then? Doesn't make sense. Like, you're the older person. If you want contact with me, if you care about me at all, if you've had any love for me, you think you just call me or send me a letter or email me, text me, whatever. I can be found. I'm not hiding where I am. I'm in Florida. I mean, my sisters are on Facebook. They can certainly look up what my phone number is. It's out there because I use it as my, business phone number too. So I'm not hiding from anybody. I just not tolerating this stuff anymore. It takes too much energy and I'm just over it. So, sorry, I'll digress. Airing all my dirty laundry. But it's life, like I say. So, both feet planted on the floor. Take some cleansing breaths again. Hopefully I didn't get you all worked up or angry listening to the saga of my life. Clear your space. Think about the white sheet. Taking all the negative and static energy with it. Give it to the heavens. I don't think I've cleared my space in a while. But I don't need to clear my space that often. Because I haven't been here long enough in Florida to really have friends. I've had one person over. My boyfriend. And he's got good energy. Most of the time. He really grounds me. And when he was here a couple weeks ago, his energy stayed here for a couple weeks and it was really nice. It really helped me. I didn't get a chance. I haven't even told him that yet. So, both feet flat on the floor. I know I always said that. So, let's ground. So, let's do this. Remember, your hands are electromagnetic. So, we're going to get them all. So, there's good heat going on here. We're going to put them on our thighs. And just breathe into that. The feeling that you have roots coming out the bottom of your feet. Down into the earth through each layer. Through the rock and the sand and the clay. And more rock down to the core of the earth. There might be a nice cool pond there. There might be a quartz crystal. Have your roots touch that and bring up the energy of that up into your body. We're We're going to use grounding energy this week for our chakras. We're going to pull that grounding energy up to the root chakra, which is at the base of your spine. So like I said, we're going to unwind the chakra. So you're going to place your hand in front of that area. And yes, it's down in your private area. So you're just, I was going to stand up and show you, but I'll just show you through. I'm just going to do it through the hot chakra. So we're going to counterclockwise unwind that chakra down there. Do it like where your legs meet the rest of your body. So you're going to unwind it. So I'm going to unwind mine. And think about it going counterclockwise. Think about, you might see darkness kind of coming out. We're going to pull that out and we're going to scoop it aside. We're going to scoop it aside. Unwind some more and scoop it aside. Now, we're going to wind it back up. We're going to go clockwise. All your chakras should be going clockwise. We're going to go clockwise and we're going to wind it back down. And we're going to think of the brilliant red that it should be. And make it a little larger than it might be. Just sit with that for a minute. Take a breath in and out. Then we're going to move up to our sacral chakra, which is below the belly button. And we're going to unwind that. Counterclockwise, we're going to unwind. And if you feel the need to scoop out before I scoop out, just go right ahead and do that. Scoop out that bad energy, that stagnant stuff you don't want anymore. It should be a brilliant orange color. Let's make it the same size as your root chakra. And let's clockwise wind that back to the way it should be. Now, if you feel any resistance, just tell yourself you need to let it go. It's going to be okay. You're okay to let it go. These lower chakras tend to be the ones that we have closed off or it's going the wrong way because, especially if you have that self-worthy issue, self-esteem problem, or any sexual type of issues, because there's a lot of organs tied to those too. We want to just let it go. No matter what it is, let it go. If you've been raped, sexually assaulted in any way, you're probably holding it down there. These lower three, especially. I've been raped, so I understand that pain. I'm probably a slightly different because of the abuse I suffered from my mother, because I was raped when I was 17. For many years, I didn't look at it as rape. It was like, it was my boyfriend at the time. He was an older man who happened to be married, which I didn't know, and had a child. So I didn't think of it as rape. I tried to stop him. He overpowered me, which in my mind kind of ticked me off because I've always thought of myself physically strong. I mean, I'm not as strong now as I used to be, and I'm overweight, but I was a strong-ass bitch back in the day because I worked with my grandfather. I used to have to, and my grandmother had a bad back, so anything that needed to be moved in the house, I had to do. Those big-ass air conditioners we had to do, so let it go. We're going to let all this stuff go. That's why we're unwinding these layers of the chakras to let this stuff go. And then next week we'll work on putting the good stuff in there even more. So let's go clockwise like it should be. So move your hand clockwise over it. We're just going to seal it and protect these. We'll have Archangel Michael come in and protect, even if you're not. I work with, even though I was baptized and raised in Lutheran church. I gave that up when I was 17, and you probably figured out, and I might have mentioned that I follow a more pagan type of path, but I pull in things from all religions. I consider myself more spiritual, because all paths lead to the same thing. We all want to be, divinely taken into heaven or be part of the divine or however you see it. I like to use Archangel Michael because he's one powerful person, not person, angel, and he's helped me a lot over the past 10 years. So I call him in a lot to help me when I'm not feeling right. I have him cut all the cords and do all kinds of stuff. So he's here protecting us now. So don't worry, you're safe too. So we did the root, the sacral. Let's move up to our solar plexus, which is like kind of the stomach area. It's above your belly button. If you just put your hand there. And this is the solar plexus chakra is about who you are and how you present yourself to the world. And this needs to be really strong. So we're going to unwind. We're going to unwind and pull all the crap out of it. You are worthy. You are safe. You're secure. You're a wonderful human being. I'm going to scoop all that out. All that junk that might have popped out because of me saying that stuff. And then we're going to wind it back up. Make sure you're breathing from your stomach. You might find yourself when you're unwinding that you have to take some deep breaths. That's okay. Do what feels natural to do. And our solar plexus chakra is the color of the sun. It's bright yellow. It's beautiful. You can make this chakra a little bit bigger than the other ones because this is how you present yourself. So you want to have good self-esteem going out into the world. Think you're worthy. Say you're a badass bitch. Whatever mantra, affirmation you wanna say as we're cleansing and healing this chakra. Okay, let's move up to the heart, which is the beautiful color of green. And if you notice, our chakras are the rainbow colors. Roy G. Biv. So if you ever forget, if you remember that, you just start with the red at the root and work your way up. That's how you remember it. So we're going to unwind our heart. Because sometimes we walk around with our hearts closed. I know I close mine off sometimes when things hurt until I can sit and think about what's going on. Scoop out the bad energy, anything stagnant, anything that doesn't belong there. And if you start winding your chakra back up the correct way, you might feel an opening. So that's why you might feel it opening up to receive unconditional love from our angels, from the ascended masters, from Jesus, from God, the divine. Give yourself unconditional love. Feel your heart opening up. And there might be times where you'll something might happen. You feel like your heart chakra is opening further. And it kind of hurts if you're not used to that. So if you feel your chest is hurting at all, just not like major like heart attack type things. Not like that. It should never hurt that much. But if you feel kind of the ache, I get this every once in a while because, like I said, I close mine off. Sometimes being an empath, sometimes you just shut everything down and you don't want anybody to penetrate your aura. So just be aware, sometimes it will hurt if your heart chakra is opening more, getting larger. But just feel into it. You can feel the difference between if it's like a heart attack kind of pain, or if you could sense unconditional love coming in from your higher beings. So don't be scared if that happens. I've had that happen a couple times, especially when I work with my energy healing teacher, even like on Zoom or something, and she does something, and all of a sudden I'm like, it's like, okay, where she's opening us back up. So let's move up to your throat, which is blue. If you're not a talker like me, mine was closed for many years. I've worked on opening it up and doing this channel and making all the mistakes I do, but I keep plowing through because I don't go back and edit. I'm like, it is what it is. It's okay. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But the message will get through, even though I'm stuttering, stomping on my own words and things of that nature. Even if I say something incorrect, which I know I have in every video I've done so far. So we're going to unwind our throat chakra. And it will close sometimes if you're not being heard. You're trying desperately to make somebody hear you, and they just don't. You probably have a block here. I'll scoop some of this out. Let's wind it back up. Beautiful blue. Going clockwise. I'm being heard. Making sure it's same size as your root and your sacral. Remember, we made your solar plexus a little big so you can go out into the world a little more confidently. We don't want to make it too big because they really all should be around the same size. You don't want those imbalances where one chakra, takes over. That's imbalanced too. Okay. Now we go up to our third eye, which is right here. We're going to unwind it. This is where your intuition is, through your third eye. Where you hear and see things that may not be in your reality yet. So I'm going to scoop that up. And this is a beautiful, what are we at, indigo? Roy G. Biv? Indigo. I should know that. I've been doing this for 20 years. But, hey, like I said, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. And it's okay. Let's wind it back correctly. Beautiful indigo color. Lining up with the rest of your chakras. And now we have our crown, which is right around here. So we'll unwind our crown. Beautiful violet color. This is what connects us to the heavens, to the divine, to source, the Christ light, Godhead. There's so many terms from different religions and spiritual backgrounds. However whatever makes you feel safe. But remember, we're safe. Archangel Michael's with us, and he can be with many people at the same time. He's omnipresent. And we're going to scoop out. Now, some people see the crown chakra as white light with maybe some gold flecks in it. And if that's what you see, that's fine. And we're going to line this back up. Actually, I see mine sometimes as, it depends. Sometimes I see it white, depending on what I'm doing. Sometimes I see it as the violet, beautiful violet color. And we're going to make sure that's, take a couple deep breaths. You might feel a little off balance. I know I do right now, because I haven't done this particular exercise in a while. That's why we make sure your feet flat on the floor, both of them, and take a couple breaths. Then you just go from the crown, work your way down to each one. Just like double checking your work, making sure they're all going clockwise. They're the correct color. They're beautiful, brilliant colors. Go down to your root. Work your way down to your root. And I think we're going to end this differently. So go from your root back up. And let's extend our hands up. And let the energy of you go up into the heavens, connect. And then just feel the energy come back down to you. The space in between your arms, you might feel some tingling there. That's heaven rushing in. That's what this is called in a certain method. Bring it down into your wisdom center. It's like a qigong move. I'll pull that in to your power center, and then put your hands together. Pull it down. Stop at your heart. Take a deep breath. Do it 3 times. Breathe normally. Put your hands on your heart. I hope you're feeling good. You still might feel a little off, a little dizzy. I can feel a little bit with me. Try to do this every day this week. Get yourself really cleared out. Do that self-care, clear yourself out. You can call in Archangel Michael for protection. And let's end with Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, can you please shield us? Like an egg around us. The beautiful blue light. And cut any cords to us that no longer serve us. Take a deep breath in. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for your assistance. You're now safe and protected, and hopefully a little balanced. Make sure you drink plenty of water. Stay hydrated as your chakras calm down a little bit. I really am feeling it. I really need to do this one a little more often. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I hope this helps you and you're working on your self-care. And I'm here for whatever you need. If I don't know the answer, I will find out the answer for you. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm your trusted friend, Crystal, from the Crystal Center of Healing. Thank you for joining me this week. See you next week.